7:05, 7:06.
Yes, so we'll call the meeting to order at 7:04 on mine. Big hello, everybody. Thanks everyone for coming. Hi, Ari online. As we start, just anybody who hasn't had a chance to sign the card for Jody, that's here if you want to do that. And let's get started. So can I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
To adopt the agenda.
Thank you, Kim. And a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next up is the minutes. Does anybody have any questions, comments, changes, corrections on the April minutes? Okay, can we get a motion to adopt the minutes? Motion. Thank you, Patty. Second. Thank you, Kim. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, next up, planning calendar. I'm just gonna hit on a couple of the highlights or changes. So I know we have, Kim has some stuff to talk about in her report, including the scholarship. So that's something we're working on this month. I'm sure Rebecca will have updates on the tent and camp setup. Talk about that later. We do have the date for the live at the library kickoff, which is June 17th. And then that'll be on Friday nights moving forward through the full summer. So mark your calendars. And then summer reading kicks off in June as well. Kim and I have scheduled our 6-month check-in as well. We scheduled it after I updated this. So that's coming up at the beginning of June. And then we've scheduled I think now officially scheduled a new resident reception. We'll talk more about those details later in the meeting, but that'll be July 8th in conjunction with one of the live at the library events. A reminder that the core trustee training is coming up for anyone who needs to sign up for that. We talked about that last month. And then we have, looking forward, the mini celebrate Stephentown, so to speak, in August with 4 Fat Fowl, the car show going on August 13th. So we'll want to figure out what that's going to be, if it's going to be Civil War or something else or whatever. And then we are working to schedule the 75th anniversary event, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. We're thinking September 26th for that, but we're still trying to get things nailed down on that front. So a couple of the highlights that are coming up there. In terms of the newsletter, thank you, Kim. You put out in the May newsletter, the introduction of the new trustees. Thank you for everybody sending your information. I think we may want to try to highlight the new resident reception in the June newsletter. So should we meet at end of May? Yes. Please. And then we can see from there. That would be a good one to highlight. Anybody have any questions, comments on calendar, upcoming things you want to mention?
I have a question.
Sorry, Ari has a question. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I just have to turn my volume up. That's all. Okay, go for it.
I'm just wondering, the trustee training.
Hang on a sec. I don't know what I wonder if it's the microphone. Can you go now and see what happens?
Yes, can you hear me? Test, test, test.
No.
Okay, I can ask later. It's not.
We don't usually have that issue. No. This computer, at least it's up as high as it can go. No.
Can you hear me?
No.
What if you turn the
Okay.
light on that?
We could try that. Give it a try, Ari.
Testing, testing.
Oh, wait a minute.
That is bizarre. I don't know why.
Have the.
Don't worry about it. It's okay. Oh, wait, but now I can't hear you.
Because I had to mute mine. I have no idea.
Ari, can you hear us now?
I can hear you.
I just asked you first, I can kind of hear it a little bit.
Oh, I'm embarrassed because it's really not a very good question. But the trustee training on the 6th, you said something about signing up for that. I don't know if I know how to sign up. Am I supposed to be signing up for that?
You have to contact Jonna at Upper Hudson.
Okay.
And
You need to sign up, I can forward that.
Yeah,
Okay.
so actually, Jen's gonna forward you the information.
If you could
Okay, thank
forward
you.
to me too, this is about the training.
Yes.
Okay, please. And I did get an email back fairly quickly saying that I was in the list now and would be updated.
That was
Okay.
very,
Yeah.
very
Thank you.
on
Okay.
point.
Okay, thank you. Sorry to cause problems.
No worries, I don't know why it's not working on my end, because this should be doing it, but. Okay, anyway.
All right. So we're up to your report, Kim. Your report.
So you can see, I do have quite a few things happening in the next couple of months. So we're starting, Lego Club has been very consistent and everybody's been coming, so we are continuing to do that twice a month. I have family game tonight, tomorrow. I've only one family signed up, so I'm probably going to cancel that because I don't think it's, I think that we need to have at least a couple of people, couple of different
Or
folks
they
to
could come
come.
home and play with themselves.
Mini art nights coming up, crocheting and knitting coming up.
What is mini art night, by the way?
I've got, or I'm buying tiny little canvases and we're gonna paint and just have fun painting.
Yeah,
And,
just like free for all kind of thing?
yeah, and then I was thinking if people are okay, we can keep them out and like display them and have a little, a little display, so. And then the knitting and crochet night is really just if you want to learn, if you don't want to learn, you know how to do it, just come and join us and we'll knit together while the kids play D&D on one end of the room. And I play. We have some new families in town who, one of them is very knowledgeable about Magic the Gathering, which is a card game. So he's going to try and get some people coming for that. Live at the Library is starting, and we're kicking it off with Mike McMahon. So thank you. And Scott Connors and Noe are going to be doing a type-in, it's called, where they're bringing tons of old typewriters, and people can just come in, check them out, type on them. I've got weird stationery. It's going to be, should be a fun day. So it might be a little loud with the clacking and all that, but who cares? It'll be fun.
Will the type stuff end up on a display somewhere or something?
We maybe.
I'm hoping, because I have to work that day, but I would love to see what people do.
Sure. Yeah, I can ask if we can do that.
Cool.
Do you have a copy of Click Clack Room?
Yes. Yes, we do have that. I'll have to put
But
that
maybe
out.
we start today.
Yeah.
Are you doing Crosby on Saturday?
I was supposed to, but I don't have anyone signed up.
I
So,
was told to ask you about it.
yeah, no one has, I haven't gotten any phone calls that I know of. And then, so I'm gonna give it one more day, and then if no one shows up, then obviously we'll have to cancel.
Should we put another post out on social media?
Yeah, we can.
What was that for?
Crosby, the reading dog.
Oh. No one wants to come read with Crosby.
Usually people do.
Advertise it as air conditioning here.
Oh, good idea.
Oh,
that's right, 'cause it's
That's
running
a
terrible.
really smart idea.
did at 95.
Yeah. Thinking.
I'll see if we can put one up for that, or I'll work on that one. Our weekly programs are going really well as story time. I have 6 to 8 toddlers a week, and they're little spitfires, but they're definitely getting the sense of how to do this, because they've never been, it's been so long since most of these kids have done anything. So they're learning, and we're having a good time, which is why you'll see there's some tape on the floor outside. I just didn't feel like taking it up yet, because it was kind of fun to have. The kids were like jumping in them, and we did some fun, looking at shapes and trying to find them. And Mahjong is still going good, and the Dungeons and Dragons group is still going really well. They have those kids have now 8 members of the party, with the 1 member who's the DM, which is Braylon, my son. So those are all, like, our programs, our regulars are definitely going strong. And then we had an amazing team paint night. We had 9 kids, and they were so excited. They asked if we could do this again every Friday. I said no. I'm not doing this every Friday, but maybe once a month. Or I suggested that maybe we have an art club after school. So they liked that idea too. So we're going to see if I can maybe do something after school, but maybe they can take the bus here because they're teenagers. They can be here, right? Could they take the bus here?
Well, they're not,
Yeah. So
you're running out of school then, because they get out June 14th.
oh, that's right. Well, we'll work on something. So we'll get them. So those were the programs that we were held. John Wall is still using the building, I should say community room, but the building for his yoga, and he still consistently gives us $50 a month as a donation to do that. Our circulation has gone up, our visits have gone up. Things are definitely moving back to a busier library. You can even see from March, we had 419 people come in, and then in April it was 497. So some good stuff. And then our circulation numbers are also, they're about the same. There's not a huge amount of difference in those. And our patrons, are exactly the same as last month. So I think some have expired card. It just works out that it's all the same. This month, you can see my collection development. We have 17,383 items in our collection. So yeah, library's really busy. And so the toddlers, the weekly paint night. I did attend a DA meeting virtually. They were reiterating the racial equity training, which is available for all board and staff members. We have 2 years to do this. Like, if their contract with this group is for 2 years, so we have time to do it if anyone wants to.
But we need to request it and.
Yeah.
schedule it.
Yeah, we would have to request it. So,
I'm interested in it.
Yeah.
People, yeah.
I think it would be a good idea. The training that they do for staff is different than they do for the board. So we would have to, I will probably do it with the staff.
Mhm.
And then go from there. So,
I feel like we might get better response to do it, maybe not in the summer.
Yeah, in September or
Yeah.
October,
Yeah.
yes, that works for me.
okay. The annual celebration / meeting for Upper Hudson is on June 3rd at 5 o'clock at the Colony Library. All are welcome to attend. I will send you all the registration link because you have to do it online this year. It usually is that if they hold a big dinner, and it's very lovely. This year they're trying to do just hors d'oeuvres and an open bar, and then the meeting afterwards. So, like I said, everyone's welcome to go. I just have to send you guys the information for it. So I'll send that out actually.
I assume some folks have been before. Is it worthwhile?
It can be
Okay.
when they get when they get a good speaker coming up. I think it's definitely.
It's just a nice time to network with people from other libraries that you don't really have an opportunity to hear about some stuff that's happening, get ideas.
Exactly. I can tell everybody who the speaker is going to. The speaker is going to, says held on Friday night. The tickets are $25 each, but and it does include an open bar. So if that makes it any better. The keynote
Your money's
speaker.
worth.
The keynote speaker is the director of the Amherst College Library, and he's also the chair of the ALA Intellectual Freedom Committee. And it's going to be about intellectual freedom, fighting the good fight. So it should be interesting. I'm going to do my best to get there, but my son has an appointment in Boston, so I'm hoping I can get back in time, but I don't know if I will. And it takes forever to make those appointments, so I really can't cancel that one. I don't know, did you send information about openings on?
Yeah, we'll talk about it in the new business / correspondence, I think.
We attended summer camps, meetings, continuing to work on the website with Noe. We were able to change the gallery view, so now that he just has to show me how to use the widgets to we have a Flickr account, and we'll be able to put the kids' pictures up on, or not just kids, but all the pictures I want on there. I went to the town board meetings. One of the big things that I did this month was I met with the Stephentown veterans. I went to their meeting to go talk to them about the possibility of using the park for the Civil War program that I wanted to do. When they found out that we were doing a veterans page on our website, they were extremely happy and grateful. And Dennis was just like, "You gotta be kidding me, this is fantastic. How can I help to get this going?" This could be, they're having a hard time with all of their social media or internet presence. So, and I told Dennis that I would help them set up their Facebook page because they were about to pay people to do it. I said, you really don't need to do that. You can come and I'll help you with it. So they are super excited about that. He wants me to go to each meeting. I said, well, if it helps us, maybe I will, but I don't know yet. They also have a sculpture that was gifted to them. I guess it's commemorating Vietnam veterans. And it's little, I guess, but they thought they were gonna have it outside. It can't be outside, it's broad, so we get ruined. So they came here to check out and see if they could find a space that would work for it here. And unfortunately, I didn't know that they were here. I was in the meeting for camp and no one told me. So I'm gonna reach out to them because my idea there I think would work. So which is just putting it in the main stacks.
Does it need a pedestal?
I don't think so. I mean, unless they decide, they were thinking about putting it in here, and I said that's probably not the best place to put a sculpture that's going to be fragile. You want it on a shelf somewhere where no one's going to touch it. Because in here, I mean, obviously we use this for so many different things.
Did you say it's a World War II vet?
Vietnam.
Oh.
Sorry. So they're still searching the community to find the home for this sculpture, but it makes sense for it to be here if they wanted it to be. And then they're still going to let me know about the Civil War encampment program that I wanted to. I don't know if they're going to say yes to it or not. Met with Kim about the strategic planning meeting and how the new system of keeping records. That's definitely going to happen. I received 2 scholarship applications. I have forwarded everybody the links to those scholarship applications. Feel free to, normally, or the past few years, we've just been, I send everybody the information and you vote on the one you like the best. I'll let that be up to you guys if that's the way you want to do it again, or
That works.
And just send you our
Just send you-
preference.
yep.
So it's just 2 people, so. one of the-
yeah, exactly.
I have a question. Did the application actually request all of the pieces that the second, like the letters of recommendation and the transcripts and?
Yeah.
One
and-
of them, it's actually in one file.
Oh, it's all there?
Yeah, so I was like, oh, they didn't submit everything
I
they
opened it and
need.
started reading and I guess I didn't.
Yeah, I did the
Okay.
same thing.
Yeah, I was gonna explain that to you guys, but the one, they just put it all together and must have scanned everything, so.
Also, close your eyes while you open it.
Yeah, because it shows the name.
Oh, no.
Just briefly.
The blackouts load like a second after. the rest of
Oh,
it.
darn it.
Just close your eyes. and then-
Okay, thanks for, I thought I checked that too. Well, I did
It's
check it.
probably also depends on your your
Yeah.
computer and your connection.
Oh, that's true.
So,
Yeah.
That's frustrating. I have to think about getting Adobe for PDFs
Yeah.
like actually subscribing, because I don't have any of that access to do those kinds of things, so I'm probably gonna end up doing that. And then just to let everybody know, which you already do know, about Jody's mom having passed away. The funeral for her is gonna be on May 26th, with a calling hours at 2 o'clock and the actual funeral service at 3 o'clock. Her obituary is in the paper, but if anyone's interested, I'm hoping she'll come back sometime in June. So I just have to get in touch with her a little bit more and talk about it. So, I think that was pretty much it for I just actually spoke to Paul Mays today, so that's why that's not on here. And we are gonna meet, are we talking about that in another part, or?
Yeah, we'll talk about the.
Alright.
master plan update.
I think that's pretty much it for me.
And in terms of coverage, while Jody's still out, you still
Linda.
doing okay with that?
Yeah, Linda's been able to help and she's been doing good. I'm gonna, we're all filling in as we can, but I think Vicky might be going on vacation sometime in June, so I have to make sure we can get that coverage back up.
Kim, do you have a deadline on the vote for the scholarship? Do you have a date?
That's up to you guys.
You know, you try to,
Try and do it by the awards.
I wasn't gonna plan on doing that. I think that, we can if we want to, but
This calendar going out.
there's only 2 applications you should.
Yeah.
It shouldn't take us long,
Right.
but sometimes having the date in your head makes you.
Yeah.
That's all.
Deadline would probably be good. It doesn't really take more than 20 minutes to go through.
Yeah.
how about the 23rd? Gives you the weekend.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yep, sounds good.
All right.
So I think the awards is in June. I looked on my calendar, just in case you wanted to,
Okay.
for Berlin anyway. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know when the middle amounts are.
So, yeah, Booster Club scholarship is still out there, so it's not, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so Melanie is not here. She's probably not gonna be here next month as well. She has conflicts, but hopefully she'll be back after that, but she has her normal report, which you can all take a look at. Basically, it's like things are looking where we expect them to be. And did anybody have any questions on that? She mentioned to me, I can mention it, or you can mention it since you was back with her, about the plan for paying bills online moving forward. Sounds like it'll be not only save time and money and make it a more efficient process.
Yeah, so we're gonna be doing automatic payments for NYSEG, Consolidated, and County Waste, which are all generally the same amount. NYSEG goes up and down, but that's, between $20 and $60. It's not a huge amount. And then, or whatever we can pay online, like, booksellers and credit card bills and all that, we'll be able to. I'll just give her the bill. I'll book it or record it into the QuickBooks and then give her the bill and she can pay it. So I think it'll definitely be easier in terms of like not having to print checks for every single thing.
Great, thank you guys for working that out. I think it makes sense these days.
Yeah.
So moving on to committee reports. Okay, so fundraising committee, couple updates, not a lot of updates. We talked about we pretty much talked about everything last time, so just the updates. So the pop-up merchandise store, I hope you all saw that is up and running. Bex has been pretty good. This is the first time for us, so I think, we had a lot of questions and things like that.
They seem really inundated with calls and they seem very busy.
Yeah, and
I think they always are.
Yeah.
They just, yeah.
but it's nice. They like make the flyers for you. They send you the images, stuff like that. So that worked out nicely. As of today, as of this morning, we had 7 orders. The gross was $543. So we still have a ways to go. Where we want to
And
be.
most of the orders are ours.
Yeah. So we only, we were trying to keep the promotions like on Facebook and stuff sort of on the weekend so that people maybe have a little more time. So we'll have more push of that. We'll see if we can
And
get
it's
some
open
more.
until the 30th.
Yeah, so tell your friends and neighbors. There's flyers out on the desk if people have any big people.
And we can always meet the quota and then sell things.
Absolutely, yeah,
Which
yeah.
will happen.
So, so far so good on that. And then the Live at the Library, I think we had talked about last time, we want to try to do some basic snacks and beverages, and we want to try to keep it simple. You're, Scott, I'm looking at you, you're welcome to make it not simple if you have something you want to contribute that's not simple, but for the rest of us.
And remember for that, when it gets hot, we have the snow cone machine.
Okay, that's
Ooh.
true, so, okay.
So popcorn if it's cool and snow cones.
So I think what we'll want to do is as we get a little closer, which we're getting about a month away, just have some people sign up to volunteer for a couple things. To do that, we'll see how that goes. Historical Society was not interested in participating, right, in that aspect of it, the snacks
She
action.
wasn't sure. She
Okay.
said she was gonna ask.
Okay.
So but I haven't heard anybody say, oh, yes, that sounds great. So,
And then on the 75th anniversary event, we're still trying to get some answers from Norte. Sarah and I have had a couple dinners now, just to try to.
And yet we know nothing more than we did the first time.
Exactly. But maybe they're just stringing us along for more dinners and more dinners, but. Jared, so we have the answers. Oh,
They're all in favor.
Yeah,
they just
they're
are very unspecific.
So, we'll see, hopefully we'll get some more, and we're looking at the music options as well, it's just, I think, until we kind of know the money we're talking about for the main part of it, it's kind of hard to make some of the other decisions, so. We'll go from there. We have been looking at a couple other organizations that have been doing fundraisers, looking at sort of their ticket prices, what's included and how they're dealing with stuff. I think we're in line, with what people are doing. Certainly no, we're not more outrageous than anybody else, but so we'll see. More
And
planning.
75 makes
Right, it's
the best sense.
right, yes.
Right, it does.
Gotta have a gimmick, right? So the other thing that I think Bill wants some help with is raffles. If we could get another raffle going like that local basket that we could maybe run for each month of the Live at the Library, something like that. I think we would maybe do well with that. So if there's anybody who would like to volunteer to help gather the donations, thank you.
I can't make the request, but if somebody requests a pair of tickets to the Clark, you'll get them and I can deliver them.
Oh, okay.
Everybody once a year that asks.
Oh,
Who should we get in touch with to request them?
Info at Clark Art, I think works, or I think if you go on the website. But info at Clark Art. will work.
There was one year we ran a while donated tickets.
really?
Really?
Oh, yeah,
That's a pretty big,
I know,
Yeah.
it's expensive.
Yeah, and I don't think we got very many people.
no, it was like when we saw the book sale or something.
Yeah, but I think that if we do it as part of you've got a month, we're gonna have it out at the library every month. I think we'll get more people. That would be a good idea.
It's true, you could have the raffle selling, not just during
Exactly.
the event.
Right, yeah.
For a bigger ticket item, and then you could have other smaller items available, right? On the night of.
That's true, yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, night of, we're probably gonna be trying to sell some of the merchandise that doesn't sell at the Trail store.
True.
I think we can have lots of things for sale.
Yeah, people, I mean, that's when they'll be interested, if they're there having good feelings.
Okay, any questions or comments? Strategic planning.
So we had a meeting that maybe wasn't exactly the strategic planning committee, but was a group of people who said they were interested in what the strategic planning committee was going to do. And I think we got some direction on going to work on an Excel spreadsheet that helps us take all of the information from the director's reports, and sort of puts it in a form that shows us how we're moving towards a strategic plan and the outcomes from that. And aiming for having something to bring to the meeting at the July meeting. And then we'll continue to update it for the rest of the year. And at the end of the year, we can decide if it's something that, especially something that Kim and I think we can work together and make it something that's useful to her.
And one of the things that we talked about as a benefit is just, it does help us see where we're either, you know, are we matching our efforts to our strategic plan? Are there areas where we're neglecting, areas where we're doing too much? And also, are there things that we're doing that we think we should be doing but haven't been captured in that strategic plan that we need to think about how we adjust that?
And why are we doing it, and why is it not in the plan? And yeah.
So I think it's a good.
And in the long run, hopefully what will happen is the strategic plan will be a tool that's really useful and that gets used all the time. And just makes everything intentional and helps plan what grants we apply for, funding we look for, and how we spend money, and how, especially how we spend our time, staff time.
And how we justify everything we're doing as well.
Exactly. And we're all there, so.
Any other questions or comments there? Major projects, there's not a written report because, as Kim mentioned, we just heard from Paul today, so there was nothing new to share until a few minutes ago. So
This just it.
this just in. So the plan had been that we were going to meet with Paul on Monday, the 23rd at 6 p.m. via Zoom. So we had sent him we gathered all the feedback, put it together, sent it to him. And I think that's still basically what we're going to do. So he thought that we provided very thorough feedback that he probably could just take and start to do some new sketches based off of that. However, he also clarified our question around, so you said in addition cost this much money, and then you said the changes to the building cost the same amount of money. And does that mean that, and the addition builds on the changes that are in the building, so does that really mean? And yes, it really means that. So, so that's, what was the word? So we want to talk to him about that and about, you know, part of what he offers and is the guidance he can give us in terms of, you know, what we could think about in terms of grants, what we can think about in terms of phasing, what we can think about in terms of like the trade-offs. So it feels like we are in that middle position where it's not like we can just say at this point, well, never mind, we can't do any of this, it's too much money. Because we don't really have that strategic look of, well, so what can we do and how can we do it? And how do we then, so rather than having just make new drawings based on what the feedback we gave and then still have that same conundrum, we thought we should talk through in a little bit more detail. You know, do we need to do some of that? Have them do some of that analysis first before we just keep going down the path of the same footprint, but significant changes that bring that cost up to such a degree, you know, because it seems like pretty much like any of the changes that are proposed rely on some major changes that are the big dollar amounts. And if that's going to be prohibitive, should we change that approach? So you look, are you confused or skeptical? Confused? Okay.
That was a confused look.
Yeah, so I mean, it seems like everything that we've talked about involves changes to middle area, changes to surf desk, changes to heating systems, things that are going to really be major. And so if that is really, that is going to be prohibitive, instead of just making some of the changes we were suggesting, which are more like around the edges of things, maybe we can't go down that path if that's not going to be, if there's no way for us to think that we can raise the kind of money, even if we get grants, that would allow us to do that level of change to the building.
To come up with the necessary match for the 500,000 for this, and then potentially the 500,000 for that. That seems like it's out of our league.
Depends on the time frame is.
Right, which is why we're asking about the phasing.
Right. Because how much of this can we do in a phased, how phased can it be, you know?
How incremental, so that.
Incremental, yeah, that's the word, yeah. So that's why we felt like we needed we should have another conversation before he moves forward with more sketches. So plan is still for a Zoom at 6 o'clock on the 23rd. And Kim mentioned that he said what was it at?
Oh, Athens Library, yeah, they're putting in a 720-foot addition, square foot addition with an elevator, which is a little bit more. But the person that they got the quote, who finally came back with a quote, quoted them at $1,300 per square foot. Which, and generally he uses $150 per square foot as a, you know, ballpark, what is typical, so they just, yeah, it's going up, prices are going up, everything's going up.
Dramatic.
Yes, yeah. Oh, speaking of which, not prices going up actually for us, but Kirk Mitchell is going to do the deck for us, and he's going to honor the thing that we already got, or the quote that we already have, so it'll be $1,100, I think. for that.
Great.
So he was supposed to pressure wash it. a
And
couple
that
days
includes
ago.
the covering the
Oh,
You know what, I don't know if it does. I'm sure he can figure something out with that though, without it being too much, so let me ask him about that.
oh, and he, Paul also sent the building envelope report finally, so we'll forward that along as well.
Any surprises in it?
I didn't even look at it
Oh,
yet.
it just
Yeah.
came.
Just, yeah. All right. Any other questions on that, concerns? Building and grounds, I think Kim, you probably the one, we have two updates, so update on that, and then, so Tanya did the garden work.
That's nice.
I thought she didn't seem to really prune much, so we did the
I just
pruning.
noticed all the dead bushes you've got.
Yeah, so dead
Nice.
bushes are gone. Weeds are pulled. I see there's already more popping up, but and the mulch is put down. So
I didn't
At
know
least
we had daylilies back there. I was seeing all these daylilies.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's better than dead bushes.
So a little progress on that. I don't think there's really anything. Do you have anything else on building?
Yeah, I've
You
been away.
you're Irish building and grounds. Tell us about the tulips and things.
I did tell you guys about the trees that Kevin Holden gave us the estimates, nothing in writing, but in as word of mouth, or just over spoken. It's getting late. I can't remember what they were, but it didn't seem like it was a huge amount.
So 2 smaller trees, it would be $1,400 to $1,600 total. For the one larger tree, it would be $1,500 to $1,700 total.
I don't know if we want to move on that or wait, they're not in peril yet. So.
And by moving on that, does that mean getting an appointment with him for like October? It seems like 3 people are that far out.
That's true.
Yeah.
It could be, yeah.
I guess the only thing we were sort of hedging on was with the master plan, but I don't think that's gonna change, that we need to do this. I have to admit, the other day, when I pulled up to the library and I was just running over something else, you know, in that front spot, right in front of the tree, and it was just starting to like leaf out, and I was like, "Oh, that's so beautiful," and I was like, "Let's get that." She's going, it needs to go, it needs to go.
Would you mind just repeating what the decision is, what the money amount is, and what would go in each scenario?
Sure. 2 smaller trees, 1,400 to 1,600. And the 1 larger tree, 1,500 to 1,700. So we're talking like at least $3,000.
Mhm.
3,000 to 3,300, I think.
So it's 1,400 for the small ones and 17 for the larger one.
Yeah,
So
so,
you're talking about, so we're close to 4,000.
so we should look at the rest of the budget for that, with the Kirk's work as well.
I can put something together.
And he's got insurance and the whole thing like that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. And I actually just now got a text from Kirk about the stain that we're gonna do. So if anyone wants to chime in about it, I've got to make sure we can see it at the end.
Okay.
So we can let them know which one we think would be best.
So let's circle back in a minute and look at the budget number. Make a decision on that. While you're pulling that, Brandon, marketing.
Yeah, well, I think you've pretty much covered off on the website, Kim, that we do still need to finalize the volunteer page and the veterans pages, and need to update our services.
Yeah, that's coming.
Yeah.
And got that, and then also working on the scholarship, doing a bunch of like history and going through, trying to find out more about the scholarship, which has been actually very interesting. When it started, all that stuff.
Mhm.
I don't have that with me though.
Okay.
But that will go on the website.
Okay, great.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
It was about the website, so I don't know. You have many questions about accessing the camp information
No, and we have 3 applications so far.
for counselors.
No, for
For
campers. 2 of them will be out of town, so she wanted to get it in as soon as possible, so she can be a part of that. So,
We've already covered off on the Bex activity. Robin just did her travel lecture, and we put a little survey together on that, which you sent out today.
Yep.
So I can take a look when we're done with all this and see how many responses we got, but it can't be a ton because there weren't a ton of people. But I do think it's a really good idea to have a follow-up to each of these lectures so that we, basically for the same reason that you were talking about, Kim, to make sure that everything's intentional and we're meeting the needs of constituents and finding out what people like and what they don't like, so that when we plan in the future, we are basing it on something specific and detailed. Do you want me to talk about the welcome event?
Sure.
Okay, so we've nailed down the date, which Jen already mentioned, of July 8th. There's a bunch of components to it that we need to pull together. Again, the plan was we were constantly talking about getting a welcome kit together, and then we thought, well, why not try to attract people to come here rather than us trying to find out who's new in the community when we don't have any real way of doing that. Sort of build it and they will come tell people that we're going to have an event for new people. Patty, I'm thinking you're relatively new. You told me that it wasn't the most comfortable experience first moving here. I'm sure a lot of people, when they first move here, don't know that people, don't know their way around, and would find it really helpful to have an opportunity to meet people that have been here longer and other newer people. So that's the idea. We want to reach out to all of the organizations basically that we worked with for the Stephentown survey, just to see if they would like to participate and be here and welcome people and introduce what they offer as well. So that's the first step. And it's not dependent on them doing so, but if they want to, and it sounds like Arlene is pretty much from the Stephentown Historical Society is pretty much
Yeah.
on board and wants to do it.
We approached her first just because with them doing the welcome bag, didn't want to like step on toes first, so tried to kind of invite them into it.
Yeah, and in terms of our own welcome kit, we would provide a mug, your magnet, the less expensive tote from the pop-up. An application for a library card, brochure, calendar, and then we're gonna do a survey to see if they would be interested in being paired with a sponsor family who's been in town longer, and also if they would be interested in doing the interviews, the taped interviews about why they chose to move to Stephentown. I thought we'd ask things like, you know, why did you choose to move here? Was this kind of community something similar to where you grew up or very different? Has it turned out to be what you expected? You know, what do you like? Some of the same things that were in the survey. You know, what do you need and could you use help with? And do a similar interview from the other angle with people who have been here for a longer time. What was it like growing up here? How have things changed? What do you like about it? And, what would you like to see change, and those kind of things. And
That survey, I don't know if we need to, but I was just thinking that it might be interesting to know if they have an Upper Hudson library card, like for any library, in Upper- because they might not come get a card and will think they don't want to come to the library, but in fact, they just have a, so it might be.
yeah, I'll add that to just a little questionnaire that we'll have. Should it be, do they have an Upper Hudson card, or do they have any other local
No, I
library?
think you just want to know if they have Upper Hudson, because
Most people don't have the Upper Hudson, but if they came from a different town, like if they came
That's what
from
it-
Bern and don't realize
exactly.
They can still
I would
use
say-
that card.
a card, yeah, they can still use that
Yeah.
card,
Yeah.
yeah, so.
Maybe not even ask them if they have it, but just include some information about what library cards work here.
Yeah,
Yeah, what other cards, so that they don't need to replace, yeah, that's a good idea.
And do you, I know when I first moved here, they really wanted me to switch to a Stephentown card, and I still haven't. I've kept my Troy card.
He's let you on the board.
Key tag. If you
What
have a key tag, I can come here and get my card.
Who's in charge of vetting these people?
no, it's all, I mean, because it's in Sierra, so.
So it doesn't
It
matter at
doesn't
all.
matter, because as long as you're in our records as you're a Stephentown patron.
Yep.
Then it's fine.
Yes, it automatically says I want to pick my requests up at Stephentown.
Yeah, so don't worry about that part, yeah. I mean, if anything, it does save a little bit in terms of, you don't need to get a new card,
Right.
even though we have thousands of cards, you'll never get.
That's why you'll never have a key tag, because you have cards until 2099.
Exactly.
So we need to work after we have let the other organizations know on getting an announcement out about the date and, you know, what it's all about for people. The surveys, we'll have food, cheese, crackers, hot appetizers. And then we want to get a press release out to local newspapers, Eastwick and so on. So there's a lot of things to do, and then we will invite friendlies, people who you think are warm and pleasant, so if you don't get an invitation.
Uh-oh.
So that's on that.
And we would like all the board members to be able to attend the
Of course, we are all.
One thing we thought we would do is, we put a, kind of like a big name tag for folks, and it could be like, you know, lived here since, and like, you can ask me about, or like, something, so people, the conversation starter kind of thing, you know?
And we do think Crosby's a good idea, because anybody that's got kids, that would be a great way to kind of break the ice for them. So we need to get in touch with Paul about that, yeah.
I can bring banjo, everybody knows him now. Is that when you guys go away?
My parents will be there.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know if this anymore.
You're not invited anymore.
And I won't be there, I will be away.
And then the only other thing is, in terms of things that need attention, is I want to think through any other additional internal surveys, quizzes, focus groups, anything like that, that we can plan out for the year that would be valuable and a good connection with the strategic plan. That's it.
Maybe we can do something for live at the library too, to evaluate people. I mean, we know how many people come, but also,
What they like.
yeah, not online in that case, because we don't.
Yeah, we probably
emails, but
wanna
just a
do
little
it
paper one or something that people.
More toward the end of the season to find out what, sort of
Or
questions.
ask them a different question every week. And somebody who gets, like, answers every single one.
Go
gets
get in the
drawing
round.
or something.
Yeah,
So if they come to every single one.
yeah. You
A
can.
lot of people did, see that.
Yeah.
I certainly didn't, but, so I guess I don't know the answer.
But yeah, I think it's a good, maybe a little thing if your answer gets you a chance in the raffle or something.
Of course, then it's not anonymous either. That might be, I don't know, I have to think that through a little bit further, but there might be something there.
Yeah.
And maybe at the very end, just what was your favorite event, what did you like best, who would you like to see again? that
Yeah,
kind of thing.
What other kind of music?
Yeah,
genres
what
of
did
music?
we miss in terms of genre?
This is so exciting, and this has nothing to do with here, but the Clark is having free concerts this summer, Aoife O'Donovan and Stefan Raffel. So those are two like really big hits.
We will nod like we know.
I've seen Stefan from Nolan in the city, he's a Django Reinhardt.
Yeah, the
guitarist.
Django Reinhardt.
He's
He is the
fantastic,
Yeah,
yeah, he's so
and
good.
Aoife O'Donovan is just amazing.
Oh my God. he's so
Yeah,
good.
so yeah,
When's he gonna be here, do you know?
Hope it's not- I did notice that also Roaring Twenties is doing Friday night music in the summer.
Oh,
too.
really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's pretty hard to compete with beer.
Well, we could get the beer divider to go across the street.
We do all get run over by cars. Leaving back.
Sort of like Frogger.
kind of rite of passage, if you move here, you can run across the 43. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Sell brown bags.
That'll be a good.
Okay,
Statement.
yes. Yeah.
We did use the email thing for volunteers for the Easter party. I wasn't here last week, so. But Easter. And we did have, I think, quite a few volunteers, both donating food.
Oh, yeah.
and
We quite a bit.
Good.
It was beautiful.
I don't know anything else really. We recruited.
Job done.
But if, on recruitment, when the volunteer page is up, let me know and I'll send out an email blast on
Okay.
the website. Youth committee, we've started planning summer camp. We're planning on holding summer camp as it was 2 years ago. As long as the CDC continues with okaying everything, we did put that in our literature that we do are following the CDC. when These things change. We've started planning programming and trips. That's our first step. Our director and assistant director are both coming back this year, so that's good news. Counselor applications are out there, camper applications are out there. Our biggest obstacle is going to be the yard and the tent, which the yard seems to still be wet.
So we did meet with Bill Jennings and Aldi this afternoon. As part of the ARPA conversations, we had put forward the like, how about help us solve this problem? Which they're willing to do sort of regardless of ARPA, sort of, they're, they're not worried about the cost aspect of it per se, like there's a way to deal with that, but they know we have a deadline coming up. So they came over to look at it. How should we say? So they suspected that the location, perhaps a different location in the yard would be better. We explained that we put the tent at the driest location.
And last year we had 3 tents up and none of
They were
them
all
were dry, so it's
yeah.
kind of tried out other locations.
We
So,
told, yeah, we said.
Yeah, so that information was conveyed. Um, Aldi is willing to do whatever that we think is best to make it work for this year. However, while he was originally sure that he could help us with between the combination of the date of the tent being scheduled from the mid-month instead of at the end of the month, and the super crunch that's going on right now with like all the towns right now and their highway departments trying to get work done before the prices go up even higher, and all they can do is sit around and drink coffee and eat donuts, as they said, because they can't afford to do any more work because of the prices. So he's a little concerned that he's not gonna be able to do it in time. So what we kind of landed on, and this is not like the ideal solution long-term necessarily, but was he can't commit definitely that he can get some fill done in the current position by the tent installation, but he will try. And Bill said, you know, he's often not willing to commit, but then, you know, you might find it the next day it's done, so fingers crossed that that's the case. We would then evaluate to see if by doing that, they don't think it's gonna solve the problem totally because we still have the slope that comes in and all of that. However, it should keep it not muddy and certainly drier than last year. And we could evaluate how well that solution works. And then
So
make a
is
decision.
fill topsoil or is it?
No,
Crusher.
Crusher, yeah. If that can't happen, then they're suggesting we try that we move the tent this year because otherwise it's definitely gonna be in the middle of mud because that's all it's there. Use, you know,
But move the tent to where?
We would just move it
Further
further back.
back.
Jessica had thought that up, what did she say, up by the tree was drier? No,
It's not,
it wasn't Jessica, it was Taylor.
yeah, it's not, no. I mean, it's squishy all over that place.
Yeah.
And it's, but if we put it closer to where the electrical out, or whatever it is,
Mhm.
maybe that'll be better, but I doubt it, so. But I think that that's the only other choice. They can't do that because we don't want them to mud again. Might as well
Right.
just move them back a little bit. And go from there.
What's the date of the tent installation?
June 13th. Well, the week of June 13th, that was the latest, they're just swamped with everybody wanting a tent this summer.
I wish I could do an Aldi impression. That's what we need Scott here to do his Aldi impression about it. How good luck getting the tent installed that week too, because of how busy everybody is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now that's what they say, but they're never gonna make it that way. That's not gonna happen.
Oh, they're pretty good. Certainly.
So the thing is, they didn't think that there was a good drainage solution, so beside, like, you know, the build-up solution seemed to be the one that they could see is working best. They didn't see a obvious, easy drainage solution, and there's also concern with where the leach field is in terms of where the current location of the tent is.
Right, because the leach field is actually like right next to it. So if you see the dirt spot there, the mud spot, just go over a little bit and that's where the leach field is. So that's gonna add to our issues of, and then, you know, you can see that there's like it's like a dip in the landscape, and that's where all of the drainage from up to the houses above us come down and go through. So I asked about, you know, if we put in this stuff that you're talking about, the fill, but then aren't we gonna end up with like a little dam, basically, in, you know, that spot? And he's like, well, yeah, you might, you know, but, you know, so, and then because that's the leach field, I'm like, so we really shouldn't put anything in the leach field. We don't really want to be digging there. Nope, we don't want to be digging there.
Pick your poison.
So we're still gonna have the problem, even if we get some of the other spot back, you know, we're still gonna have an issue with walking across water
area,
to get to the other spots.
Boardwalk above. the
That's what I was thinking,
Yeah.
because that's the only other way at this
I
point.
mean, a deck, basically,
Yeah.
that's not attached to a house.
And there is.
And wood's so cheap right now.
Oh, yeah,
Such a-
we can definitely do that. So, yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I asked also about, you know, how do we dry out where the story walk is, and that's where, you know, all these seems to think that that's where we should put any kind of structure that we're gonna do. Yeah, and so, well, you could dry it, you know, possibly, you know, just put down a bunch of fill and, you know, then the crusher stuff and then the topsoil and then do, you know, so definitely do it, but.
Which I guess that they dealt with that on their side of that area.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so
Probably
there's.
contributing to our problem.
So there's no quick, easy solution to this. Hopefully we'll have something that gets us through. And we can
Did
continue to
talking
figure out.
to the firehouse ever get anywhere about using?
So it's still in the mix, so,
Still.
so,
Formalizing that arrangement with the firehouse.
I mean, it hasn't even been approached with them yet, so
Oh.
it's in the ARPA recommendation stuff.
Probably not this summer.
I think we could probably quickly come up with it.
At least
I feel like the
we use
longer we talk,
inside.
the more tired I feel with everything.
When is the first day of camp?
July 5th.
That sounds like a long way away, but it's really soon.
It's very soon, yeah.
So. Anything else on youth? Taylor, I thought has done a great job, seeming to step up more.
Yeah,
Few on
and
board this
Jessica's doing a lot too. Yeah, I think it's rolling along. I'm
Do-
hoping to have another meeting. It's- This time of the year, kid stuff is just nuts. I'm hoping to have another meeting next week, maybe. I'll put that out there. I'm waiting to see when Elsie's sectionals are for track, which. So.
Did we find out about the bus prices?
Well, what happened, it was interesting, I thought the bus price was gonna go up a lot.
Uh-huh.
Because we haven't really used buses in 2 years. So we have 2019 prices that we've looked at. Jessica's the one who goes back and forth with them about that. She got a quote from, the bus, and now it's a new bus person, of course, in kind of buses. She got a quote to go to the aquarium, which is in Rotterdam, Schenectady, for $250 for one bus. Most likely we'll need 2 buses, but that was really low, well, it was somewhat low compared to 2018.
That doesn't seem right.
Yeah, that's
$600 or something like that.
So I don't, I gave Ari all my binders, but Ari helped me out a lot, and we've been working together on that, that's what I wanna find.
It just seems weird with gas
So-
so much more expensive that it would be cheaper.
Yeah.
That what?
That it would be cheaper when gas is so much more expensive.
Yeah, so they gave Jessica a quote, $250 for 4 to 5 hours. When you pay for a bus, you pay per mileage and then you pay per hour.
Mhm.
So there's like 2 different formulas they figure out.
Mm.
So that was 4 to 5 hours. So that would be about, we would need 2 buses, probably $500. In 2019, let's see, okay, so in 2019, we went to Liberty Ridge, which is probably about the same distance as Schenectady about. We paid $642 for 2 buses, but that was for 6 hours, 6.75 hours. So a little longer, so it could be, but still,
And they also charge in addition to that mileage.
yes, so it's
So the
it's
mileage rate may
mileage
have gone
and it's,
up.
that's why I was comparing it to the Liberty Ridge.
Oh, yeah.
because We also had one to Albany, but,
So the number they gave you is inclusive of the mileage and the time?
Okay,
Wow.
so the only thing I said to Jess, and they're honestly not, I'm not sure who's in charge right now, somebody new, I guess, since 2018. So, and she can't give me a firm price because it depends on if the gas goes up between now and July, which it probably will. So what we're doing is Jessica's just getting everything through email and writing. It is what it is. I just don't want any surprises afterwards. Like, oh, we quoted you wrong.
Right, yeah.
So in 2019, we paid almost, it looks like it was $1,100 just for buses.
Yes, because we had a trip to Liberty Ridge for $642 and a trip to the New York State Museum for $543. And those both were for 2 buses. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's our budget is 1,600.
Yeah, so we have it. So, because the other thing is with the ARPA funds, giving them an idea of if we're, with the request for more trips.
So you
The
could
bus seems like that would be
say
the bigger.
we
bigger-
would probably need, yeah, busing is expensive and we would, so like for the aquarium, the bus, let's say we need 2 buses, it'll be around $500. The aquarium will charge $10 a camper. They won't charge for the counselors. And so if we have 50 kids, that's another $500. But that's our most expensive field trip. $1,000.
Then did you reach out to ask the Clark if they'll pay for the bus?
I did, so I did get the information back, and they will, except they do have they have limitations on how much they reimburse.
Oh.
So it's a reimbursement up to $150.
Oh, for God's sakes, listen. Wow.
So it's in the mix, I think,
Yeah.
if we get additional money.
Yeah, we'll see how we have some other, we're also, for field trip wise, we're also booked to go to Cherry Plain, which will be a cheaper field trip bus wise because it's not as far. And the park is going to do a program on the ecosystems around the pond and stuff. And we're also looking at going to Sugar Bush Farm on East Road that has the dog agility. We're talking to them about that. I know if those don't work out, another trip that the kids really enjoyed and is free, except the bus is expensive, is to Thatcher Park. Getting into Thatcher Park is free, but the bus over there is not. So.
But the town pays for, is it, the town pays for the buses?
Yeah, it's in our camp budget. We have a separate line for programs, which covers programs here and the cost of getting into field trips, like, tickets or, and then another line for busing.
Okay.
And we always budget for 2 buses. We obviously don't know how many campers we're gonna have yet. We're guessing around 45, but because it's a free camp, they don't all come on every day.
Right.
So Jessica and Taylor do try to get, especially on field trip days, a firm commitment to will your child be here or not. There have been years that we've gotten away with 1 bus and then we save some money, but we just can't. We always budget for 2 in the beginning.
Yeah.
And especially for a longer trip like to Schenectady, it's more comfortable.
Yeah.
To not cram them into 2 buses.
How many kids fit in the bus? How many seats are there?
I don't know if the rules have changed.
Oh,
with
yeah.
COVID.
Oh, yeah.
I think we've had. Let's see,
I don't remember.
I don't remember. I know when we've crammed them in before, you can fit 3 little kids. in one
Oh,
seat.
God. That's probably not okay. I think it's only like.
But
30.
usually it's 2 kids a seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having counselors and
I'm sure Jessica knows.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
She's the one who takes, she's very good at, she's a teacher in the school district, so she's very good at communicating with the bus garage and, a few days before letting them know. With something like the aquarium and stuff, you also have to fit our coolers on for lunch.
Right, yeah.
You have to count the counselors into the mix. So
Have the number of kids coming each summer been fairly consistent, or does it change a lot?
Yeah, we're budgeted for 60. We've never had 60 kids here at once. Um,
And last year we had a cap because COVID. but,
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think we turned anybody away, but we also didn't offer it really to out of town that much.
Right. And do kids come the whole time, or do kids just come for certain weeks?
Well, I mean, if it's out of town, you pay for it, which is really not that expensive. I think it's $350 for 4 weeks. Or you can pay per week. In town, because it's free, a lot of kids, some kids come every day.
Or they'll just come here and there,
Some
whatever.
kids come here and there, some kids, come twice the whole month.
Yeah.
So we've kind of, we walk a fine line between, okay, how do we make people accountable for you
Right.
signed up? We're planning for your child to be here. Last year, we were more rigid with asking people what weeks, what days, because we thought when we were planning, we would have to have a certain amount of kids per group and space and have all this. It worked, but you still get people saying, oh, I didn't sign up for Wednesday, can I come Wednesday? And we don't need to say no, we can say yes, so we say yes. And I think probably Taylor and Jessica have a better sense, because they both
They
work
know
at the
the
school, so they know
families
most of the
and yeah.
families that,
Yeah.
okay, this kid will probably show up a few times, this kid will come every day. and- That's it.
Okay.
Administrative.
Administrative, we've made a little bit of progress. We've almost finalized our inventory sheet of policies. Kim is in the process of separating out the internal from the external policies that are currently in the handbook. But it doesn't seem that there was ever a formal voting on all of the policies in the handbook, so we're gonna need to vote on those policies. Because, that's one of the things that needs to be on the policy is the approval by the board. Then, once we have that all pulled together, we still need to draft the missing mandatory policy that we don't have, which is about internet usage. So we need to do that. We have something about laptop, but not internet usage. And then I'm gonna work on setting up a template that all of the policies should follow so that they all look the same, that the dates are in the same place and the titles are the same, and give that to Sandy, if Sandy's gonna be the one to work on this, which hopefully she will be. And the other thing that she'll need to do is review all of the policies that are at least 5 years old, because everything has to be reviewed every 5 years and update them as necessary. So we'll be setting up a meeting with Sandy once the internal, external thing is done, and we have our dates and just finalize that inventory spreadsheet.
Thank you. Okay, old business. So last time we elected our officers, we had to finalize committees, and I apologize, I was lazy and I didn't update the documents from last month. So we want to just talk through the committees and get our agreement on who's doing what with committees this year. Things can always change, but it would just be kind of helpful to have a baseline. So I think youth committee is probably one that's in the best shape at the moment. So we've got Rebecca with Ari starting to take over. We get a transition plan happening with that. Melanie's also a member of that. Patty, you're a member. And then I would like to sort of step away from that committee. And then Kim is obviously a member of that, and Vicky. So does that
And they
make
must ask somebody. I've asked her if she wanted to be included on the camp emails and stuff, and she said no.
All right, so we'll ask her. But it seems like that committee is doing well, working well?
I just need to bring up, I've got a situation at work, that's gonna be pretty, it's gonna make it difficult for me to fully participate, during the summer.
That's okay.
It's okay.
You can still be on our committee. We'll put you in for Halloween.
Building and grounds chair is Scott. We've got Melanie, Rebecca, and me, and then Kim does all the work. Thanks. We should probably change that dynamic a little bit. But is there anybody who has any passion around building and grounds that would really like to be a member of this committee? There's not all that much going on right now until we sort of figure out what's gonna peel off from the master plan and stuff like that, but God, I hate landscaping. I really do. I really, really do.
All those excavations.
I just don't like any of it. I don't like it.
Ditch digging.
If we're content to plug along as is, or you only have one more.
Am I?
You're on it,
Grounds
but-
committee?
Yeah. Major projects that we've had as a subcommittee, and it's basically the officers. So me, Scott, Melanie, Sarah, and Kim. And I think we should keep that, I think it makes sense for now, and then we'll see where it's going with that, what we need to do, but sort of until we get that over that hump. Fundraising, me, Melanie, Sarah.
I would like to join that one.
Oh, hooray, thank you, Patty, okay. Anybody else?
Obviously.
Right, you get involved in everything.
All of
Kim,
them,
you can't- yeah. Strategic planning, so we've got, I hate that we've got two Kims now.
So I was just making a suggestion, since my last name starts with an M anyways, if
Uh-huh.
you wanna spell my name with 2 M's, just to keep us.
That's
a good word.
That's
Yeah.
nice, okay.
It's because I am Kim M
Right.
anyways.
Right.
And it would just be easier, even for me, like it'd just be easier for me to see, oh, that's my name.
Okay.
So
That sounds good.
that would be fine.
Okay. So we've got
There's a lot of us out there.
Kim taking the chair on that. And then that's a big committee right now. We've got me, Scott, Sarah, Melanie. And I don't know if everybody is still interested in being a part of that committee. It's probably, you said quarterly, probably it would be a meeting. And obviously it all filters up to the whole board, but.
And I think that as you go through that cycle, when you're getting closer to the surveying and data collection to then go into your next actual strategic planning, you need to be involved.
Right.
So it'll happen.
We'll leave it as is for now, and then administrative, we are looking for someone as a chair for that committee. Sarah has sort of stepped in doing that with because of the policy stuff right now. Rebecca's on the committee. I would like to, I would like to step away from that committee if possible.
I'm willing to chair it, but I feel like there's some training involved in that, and I don't think that I'd be able to start to really dive into that until mid-September.
That's
Is that
fair.
acceptable?
Yeah, that's fair, I think.
And I can meet with you and sort of go, I took a online training about policies and I wrote up a
Okay, and
pretty
I'm
detailed.
familiar with that process,
Okay.
having gone through it a couple of times. I just need to know, what our process and procedures are here and, what the to-do list looks like. I listened to what you talked about in the meeting, so it seems to be got a pretty good handle on
Oh, good,
that.
okay.
Okay.
Cool, thank you. The other thing that committee handles is the like review process and stuff, but we just went through a pretty extensive revamp of that, so I think we're in pretty good shape, so there's probably not too mumuch work coming up for
We
that.
should be able to use the same evaluation.
Yeah,
forms,
yeah.
Going forward unless there's any issues. which
Yeah.
We don't seem to be so far.
Just wait, sir.
Always referee.
And then brand marketing, community outreach, Sarah's chair of that. We've got Noe, me, Melanie. I have a feeling Melanie is gonna back out of that one, given her schedule, but I'll ask her on that as well.
Mhm.
I might like to be part of that one, but I really want to get that whole spreadsheet with the strategic plan stuff done, so like, I don't want to get committed until July.
Okay,
but-
And I
but
feel like
think-
since I'm part of the strategic planning, I'll be telling you what's going on. I mean,
Yeah.
that, those two things have to be
Yeah,
attached at the hip.
absolutely.
So you'll hear
Yeah.
it from me just in your meetings.
and then we've got, what I thought we could do is sort of combine recruitment, nominating, annual meeting planning. We had that as separate things. They're all kind of related. It's all, and the annual meeting is like nothing, there's not much to that. Nominating is sort of part of that. Recruitment feeds into it. Rebecca has been the chair. If you don't mind staying a little longer in that role, we'll sort of transition. It was me, Sarah, Melanie. I think that because we're in a good position at the moment with recruitment, if everybody stays on board. We can kind of let that one go a little as we have a lot of activity in these other committees. So if that works for folks. Okay, good, thank you.
Yeah,
And Patty
that-
said she was a member at large, right? And you.
Patty, yes, it's a member at large, yeah.
The recruitment, it's not, I mean, until the annual meeting or we need people, you don't really need a whole committee.
Right, it's just,
Meeting or
yeah,
anything,
yeah, we don't, we have to do anything until we're desperate. And then we scramble. Okay, so ARPA, we started to touch on this. I don't have a formal written report because there isn't really something formal right yet. So the committee has sort of finished meeting, mostly because of scheduling issues. And the approach, so Bill Jennings right now is working on preparing a report. I'll just kind of give a highlight of where the committee ended up. They approached it as looking at sort of higher level types of projects. So things like emergency preparedness, town services kind of thing, highways in there, of course. And then within that, so kind of looking at an allocation of money for each of those areas, and then having some projects underneath of that and some prioritization that went along with it. So because of one of the ways that they're looking at it is the contractual services, which they contract with the library and for summer camp, it looks like that is something that the committee feels meets the criteria. Town board will still have to decide that, but it sort of made the first cut of all of this. And the other thing that they're sort of looking at, instead of looking at, okay, like, get your ducks in a row with giving us estimates of this, so we fund the entire project, looking more at an idea of like, okay, well, we think this deserve, we can allocate so much money, and if that's enough to do your project, great, and if it's not, you gotta raise the rest of the money yourself, kind of thing. So that's kind of the high level where it is. And so I think the summer camp things, like the fire hall, the field trips, were things that they felt would meet the criteria and were a priority. Like I said, the drainage, they just figured, yes, it does make sense, and regardless of our way of working it out, it's not a high dollar amount. It's sort of just highway time, staff time, and some supplies, and if we need to, we can chip in, and it's not.
Drinking coffee.
Right. So I think that's good.
We can buy them donuts.
So more to come. I think what'll happen is after this report goes to the town board, they'll review it, then there has to be a public hearing. So, I would encourage, that'll be out there, and I'll make sure people know as well, and be there to want to just be informed about the whole thing, and then speak in favor of things as well. And we'll see, it's still very murky in terms of how it can all be spent. And it does seem like everybody's doing a little bit differently. And
which in a way is good. I mean.
Yeah,
if everyone's
yeah,
doing it the way it works for them, and that's okay.
right, yeah, I mean, there's definitely some towns that are only doing highway projects, you know, like that's the only thing they're gonna do. And then you see others that are doing all kinds of funding things that are unusual, so.
Are there any towns that are, that you sort of noticed are doing kind of creative, interesting things?
I think the bigger cities and stuff are doing more of that. So like when you see like Pittsfield, what they're doing, you know, they're doing a lot more funding nonprofits and things like that. And they seem to be tuned more into the whole, the non-town service type of criteria for the ARPA. And those are the things that have a higher level of justification and stuff, but they probably already have the infrastructure to deal with some of
They have
that.
CDBG infrastructures too, so they're used to doing that whole process and getting people to apply.
Right,
you know,
it's
the
a
whole-
more
yeah.
baked into these larger areas. that they have that. So that's where that stands. So I think the next thing is public comment, no public. So new business, this kind of ties into the correspondence. So Upper Hudson let us know about the changes to the New York State open meeting law. So it's in the correspondence section here. You can read the details. It's a big pain in the patoot. Basically, what we need to talk about tonight is the changes that are related to video conferencing. Essentially, what the change is that you can allow video conferencing, but you have to pass a resolution about it. And this is not intended to say that hybrid meetings are just fine to have because it's convenient, because God forbid, we should allow people to have a convenient option to participate in civic activities. It is, you have to say certain criteria in terms of when your board members would be able to attend virtually, such as disability, illness, caregiving responsibilities, or other significant or unexpected factors or events which precludes the members' physical attendance. So, and there is a requirement that you can't only do video meetings right now, so there has to be a physical component. There has to at least be one board member that would be in the physical location where the public can come to the physical location.
It's a little contradictory though.
Right.
In section number 2, it says that there has to be a quorum.
Present.
I know,
So at
exactly,
least
so
one person
doesn't really do it, yeah,
The
yeah.
takeaway is simply this: they want the public officials to be present in a location, and they're not interested in doing remote meetings. You can have participation remote, but when push comes to shove, the representatives of the organization gotta help. So basically, the state legislature has said that they don't want to adopt new modalities of meetings. Yeah, it's disgraceful. That's what they've done. The governor extended the emergency order, which extends things out, I believe, but ultimately, open meetings law will require board members to attend meetings.
I think,
For the public to be able to do that.
I think basically what we're doing right now is fine and it meets the criteria and thing is, it allows everybody to participate if they want
Is
to.
there I didn't read through all of it, I'm sorry, but is there like a rule saying like that a board member has to attend so many meetings in person?
No,
So you could have a board member that was always virtual.
theoretically.
theoretically, yeah.
It sounds like it's something we probably need to have a written policy on.
I think we do,
Well,
or
if you
at
need a
least
resolution.
a resolution,
Yeah.
yeah.
do that.
So, it seems to me that I think we could do that tonight if we just sort of adopt the general language that they have there. And I don't feel like this is something we should sweat about a lot, but open that to them.
So I have a question, if today someone had contacted you and said, I would like to attend the library board meeting tonight via video conferencing, they would have been able to do the same as anybody else.
Yep, it's right on the
So I feel like
website.
we're doing.
They can do that now, right? They,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
post it on the website.
Oh, okay, all right.
And on the upside, when I first started on the board, I believe it was Ed and another woman, I can't remember her name. But one of our goals was to get second homeowners in on the board, and
Oh,
they were
yeah,
only here on the weekend, so
right.
the technology at that point took us an hour to get it to work every meeting, but now we're doing better. So we did have people from, down in the city who could be a member of the board. Even though, and they were here every weekend, I mean, they were part of the Stephentown community, but
Yeah.
that would be a possibility.
Yeah, I don't see why we should try to be inclusive to allow people to participate if they can't get here in person because of whatever the circumstance is. So. I don't actually know what the resolution has to look like. Is it just like when we do anything else, we just write it into the minutes that says we.
I think probably the best way to do this is figure out what you want to do and deal with it next meeting.
Next
You
meeting?
get something in place, we'll circulate it, write it.
Yeah, language that we can
Okay,
go along with, yeah.
so, but it's not a policy, it's just a resolution, just something that's in the minutes. Just as a. Are you volunteering to write that language, Scott?
I didn't say that, but I didn't want that.
Yeah.
It's really not a problem.
It's in minutes, right, Sarah?
I mean, it may be simple as just saying that we will adopt a remote meeting policy to the fullest extent permitted by law, which probably gets you where you want to do. The real issue is in doing these meetings, you have to comply with the notice provisions.
Right.
So if you basically say, we'll do whatever, we'll authorize doing whatever the law permits, as long as you appropriately notice what's going on.
Yeah.
But that's just something I like to think about before putting that on, just to make sure that's. Yes.
Okay. And we did notice that, there are a few things that we need to make sure our timing wise and stuff, with materials available and all that, but we have our materials available now. We put up the recording of things, so we're just have to kind of watch the timing of stuff, but yeah.
So, thinking about this now, maybe these 1 and 2 aren't really contradictory. Because 1 says there needs to be a place where the public can attend with at least 1 board member, and 2 says there needs to be a quorum of board members in 1 location. But nothing says that those 2 locations have to be the same location.
I guess that's true.
I haven't reread it. So.
So I'm thinking we say, we can comply with this, no problem.
Okay,
Actually, the problem with that is, as I recall, and I don't think they changed this in the law, that so long as that there are remote board members, they needed to also open it up to the public. So the board members in public bodies were cranky because they were attending from their home. They would have to open
To the public.
to the public. I don't think the law has changed in that regard,
Mm-hmm.
so that the board members who wanted to attend remotely would go to some place.
I didn't know
Where the public could meet them. And I don't think they changed that, but they may have. It's just that ridiculous.
And
So the
then-
resolution will be presented at the next meeting, and so you're gonna write it up, you're gonna present, you're not
You're
gonna.
trying to pin me on this.
You're not gonna send it out ahead of
Yes,
I believe
I'll
those
take
in
it.
order to be able to vote,
You just want to
We have to
memorialize
be able
it.
to see it.
I know
Yes.
what you're not saying.
you can't be on the phone.
Right.
all right, well, I don't have anything else. Anybody else have anything else?
One thing, Kim had mentioned thinking about trying to do a program that was with two ends. In terms of maybe short stories. I thought that was a really wonderful
Oh,
idea. Let's not drop it and like think about maybe developing.
Robin actually has offered to do a creative writing series for us. So are you talking short stories to write or
this
to?
is to read.
To read.
Like
To read
short
shorts.
out loud.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah,
like
collected
shorts.
shorts.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
like collected
yes,
shorts,
yes.
so we can't call it that, they won't, you can't use their name.
Well, we
they
can
won't
call
work
it
with
assemble shorts.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Curated shorts.
I
Well, I call
definitely-
it shorts out loud because that's what we named ours,
That's
so it's like, I
probably
yeah,
can't use
yeah.
that too, that's probably your service mark.
I've not liked curated shorts, that's.
Yeah.
Eat my shorts.
I will, yeah, definitely.
And quite honestly, I did come up with, because we had 5 minutes of music or 10 minutes of music before each one, and I came up with that, so I could convince 5 people to do that.
Okay.
That'd be
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Wait, to get the music or to get the?
Yeah, so yeah, what we would do in Troy is we would have 10 minutes of, exactly 10 minutes, I mean, not 15, not 20, 10 minutes of music, 3 songs. And it's not a free game for somebody, 10 minutes and then like a 15 to 25-minute story.
Oh, okay. I like it.
Yeah. They're still doing it. I mean, they've been doing it now for like 18 years or something. It's been a hugely successful program.
Great. So we'll definitely.
And Halloween offers many.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
We could do one.
And Christmas, remember the Christmas noir that we went to?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my
That
God,
was
there were
cool.
some great Christmas stories that would bring you from Halloween right into Christmas.
Definitely keep that.
Geez, let's keep that in mind that we could reach out to Eric. If he does that again, to do something here too.
Huh.
Who's Eric is?
So Eric is one of the owners of Tourists, and we went to hear like Grammy Award winning and Emmy Award winning people read stories.
Yep.
Christmas noir, but yeah, we might be able to get
They're not reading stories that they wrote, they're
No,
reading
no.
stories that are out there.
just like selected shorts.
Mhm.
Where yeah,
Got it.
Okay.
it's really fun.
Yeah, that sounds great. Especially if you have good readers.
Yes, that's key.
Cool. How's Toby at reading?
He's good at reading.
It's key, and it also means saying no to some people.
Right.
I mean, it really does. Like, you can make the cupcakes.
And you look at this as a series, right, not just a one-time, or it would happen.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
I mean, we'd have to figure that out. In Troy, we did it every week because we did it as a summer. It was
Okay,
when I started doing adult summer reading club to go along with the kids
Right.
summer reading club.
right,
And so we
when
did it
was
every week
series-
over the summer.
Right,
But since then, I know other places have done it like once a month all year or whatever. So I mean, we just have to figure out what we want to do.
Yeah.
Once a month and
it
hit
could
like
be like a
Halloween.
variety of readers then.
Like I said, we'll definitely, that's in my notes, so. Try to get that done too.
Again, did your aunt say anything about the Habitat?
I haven't had a chance to get in touch with her, so I'm
Okay.
hoping to do that today or tomorrow or sometime this weekend. See how it goes with the dog. But yeah. She's on the list. Did you hear back from Mary about it?
No, and I wrote twice. I said, did you, because I left a voicemail, I sent it to her and I didn't hear anything. And then I wrote her again. I said, did you get my?
Oh, that's
email?"
unusual.
She didn't respond. Yeah, that was a little weird too.
That's unusual for her. She's.
I heard back from Kim. Kim.
Only works in writing.
Oh, I guess we need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to
All
adjourn.
right, thank you. Second. Rebecca, all in favor?
Aye.
Nighty night. Thank you.